discovery of Wari-Bateshwar and in its identification as the capital city that Inouye Asia mentioned by Ptolemy in his geography as the capital city of the mighty Gangaridhi nation is definitely going to change the history of Bangladesh and history of Indian subcontinent. So, history of both India and Bangladesh, Indian subcontinent has to be rewritten.
Why knowledge matters. General Hossain, welcome on the show. It's such a pleasure. You will talk about your book, your recent published book about the history of ancient Bengal. What made you write the book in the first place?
Thank you, Mr. Yannick. I draw your attention to the title of the book. If you can see, it is written "Military History of Ancient Bengal: A Study of the Fortifications at Wari-Bateshwar." So, my main focus was on the study of archaeological site Wari-Bateshwar. Now, at first, I wanted you to know that what was it. It is a twin village, namely Wari and Bateshwar. There are two villages. It is located under Belabo Upazila of Nursingdi district of Bangladesh. It is not far from our capital city, almost 70 to 80 kilometers from our capital city, and it is a 2,500 years old port city along with trade and manufacturing centers. And it belongs to the 5th century BC. And it had the double defense fortifications. And while conducting research, I was given 3 objectives: to reconstruct the military history of these sites, basing on the discovered artifacts and ecofacts of this area, then to reveal the design of the defense mechanism of the sites, and to identify the Janapada and the mighty nation who built their capital city on this geostrategic triangle formed by the 3 mighty rivers, Ganges, Brahmaputra, and Meghna. So, if you want to study the evolution of military history of any society, you need to study the entire gamut of the changes of that society, because military is not alien to the society, but they are part of the societal change also. That's how it became a multidisciplinary research. Now, come to the point which you said that why history of ancient Bengal. You know that as a Bengali, we felt very bad when people used to say that Bengalis are not the martial race, which is absolutely wrong. So to dispel this blur on this, I embark on this study, and you know that many classical Greek writers and ancient writers, they have also mentioned about our glorious history of glorious, especially military history of the past. And one such was written by these classical Greek writers. They mentioned about this, the Alexander the Great. He wanted to break the riddle of the Eastern Sea. He wanted to come to the eastern end of the world, but he had to go back from India. And here these Greek writers, they mentioned that fearing the military might of this Gangaridhi nation, Alexander troops, they declined to march forward, and he had to retreat back and never to return in this side. And James J. Novak, who is an American writer who spent more than 30 years in Bangladesh and wrote a book, Bangladesh Reflections on Water, where he clearly mentioned that the ancient Bangladesh was the homeland of this great nation, that is Gangaridhi. And fearing whose troops, as he wrote, that Alexander's troops retreated and never to return. And he also mentioned that what is, according to him, that what is important is that Bangladesh entered Western military history as a victor. So you see that we have these sorts of glorious military history of the past, but it is not known to our people. So the discovery or identification of Wari-Bateshwar as the capital city mentioned by Ptolemy, that Gangaresia was the capital city of this Gangaridha nation. And we have identified it as the capital city of the Gangaridha nation. So you know that we have revealed our uh, glorious past.
That is really fascinating. When did you recognize the importance of this history and to dedicate a book on this?
In fact, it was my PhD thesis. So I studied for my PhD for more than about 15 years. So once I completed my study, and you know that my supervisor was Subi Mustafizur Rahman, and one of my examiner was from Cambridge, Dilip Kumar Chakraborty. He is a emeritus professor of South Asian archaeology, and also he is a Padma Shri awardee, and also Dr. Rakesh Tiwari, who is known as a serious field archaeologist. He spent more than 40 years in archaeological realm. Still, he's working. He's from India. Dilip Kumar Chakraborty is also from India, but now residing in UK. So I got the guidance from all these great men, and so once I finished my thesis, then I wanted to uh, know the world about my research findings, especially to the people and uh, in general, and to the scholarly world in particular. So that's why I published this book, and it was an international publication, and it was published by Arian Books International, New Delhi. So thereby now my thesis is open to all over the world. Just to main purpose of this was to know the world about our glorious past.
What was the greatest challenge while researching for the book?
The challenges were manifold. The first challenge was the collection of research materials. Since my this research period is ancient time, and it ranges from prehistory to modern times also. So all those books are not, those are rare books, and it was unavailable in the market. So collection of this research material was the main difficulties I faced. So initially, I had to collect these books from various library around the world. Mainly, I collected books from in our country. There are three famous library, Ramala Library. It was established by the Tripura Kings. It is located in Kumilla. And we have also another library, MC College Library, and another Borondo Museum library. But those books are not, for my research, I need many more books. And for this, I had to visit many libraries around the world. Mainly, I collected books from Kolkata National Library, then Bir Bikram Library, Agartala, then British Library, and publication of British Museum. And and also collection of other international rare books and journals. And I purchased books from British Museum. It cost about 3 lakhs taka. This is the Bangladesh currency. And to get the book from Kolkata National Library, they have the policy that they don't allow to take the photocopy more than 30% of the book. But the DG, then DG, Dr. Shopan Chakraborty, he helped me out of the way. He allowed me to take the print, but India and Bangladesh. So They had the librarian, Mr. Ashish. I used to send him the name of the books. He used to get the print. Then someone from Bangladesh used to visit and collect the books, and he used to give me. So, it was really very difficult to collect all those rare books. And after collecting these books, I had to study, and it took about 4 or 5 years to formulate the ideas and to be concise. Then next was, the for any archaeological research, field study is must. So this field study, it comprises excavation and also field survey. So I had to spend much time on the field, and I spent almost 10 years as a member of the excavation team, and I had to travel all over the Bangladesh for surveying the archaeological sites, and also not only in Bangladesh, I had to survey many archaeological sites of all the continents. So, but this was the second challenge, and it takes me both in terms of money and time. And since I didn't have any research funding, so that's why it takes me monetarily. And this is a great setback for any quality research. I could arrange it by myself, but for any future research, research funding is an important issue. Then, my own was that, as I said earlier, this is a multidisciplinary research work. So making a team for multidisciplinary research work was another uphill task for me. But I got help from students of Jahangirnagar University and other this architect from yeah from yeah. So this was the challenge, but once when I started this research, I got help from all the people whom I needed the help. And though this is not a challenge, just while conducting research in one of our district in northern part, there is this fort that is a Fulbari. There is a coal mine. So some Asian energy they had been working, but people they hesitated and ultimately they could not do the mining. So once I was doing the field work, initially with those GPS and all these gadgets, and they thought that probably I am from Asia Energy, and they were about to break my car. So my driver convinced them that he is a military officer. He is not. He doesn't belong to Asia Energy. And this is the lighter part, I must say. So definitely there were challenges, as I said, mainly three.
What was the greatest joy in writing the book?
In fact, few days back, someone requested me, rather advised me to write the background of this book and the difficulties I faced, and also this greatest joy and others. And I find that he gave me a very good advice. The greatest joy was, for about 10, 15 years, I had been working on this, and knowing different people around the globe was one of the greatest joy for me, because I had to come across hundreds of people from various corners. So I can, if I want to name those people, that it will be very long list. So I don't want to name all those, just few. As I said, Shapun Chakraborty, Dr. Shapun Chakraborty, he was busy of Kolkata National Library. He helped me like anything. And Mr. Ashish was the librarian of this. And of course, Dilip Kumar Chakraborty and Suri Mustafizur Rahman, Dr. Rakesh Tiwari, then Pathan, who taught me the first lessons of archaeology, and team of students from Jahangirnagar University who helped me on different um, aspect, and especially I enjoyed the field survey all along the Bangladesh, all over the Bangladesh. It was really a discovery of Bangladesh to me. Really, I enjoyed that, and I traveled all over the Bangladesh, and there I met many people, and their oral history also helped me in shaping my research. And you know, oral history is recognized, and this has got a change. So this was one of the I must say it was one of the greatest findings, and also a greatest joy for me. And as I said, that I have to visited many ancient world archaeological sites. It includes Greece, and many European countries, America, China, and all over the continent. So, trekking the trails of great kings and emperors, and I felt their presence and living in their times. You might think it is a romanticism, but really I felt it. So this was one of the greatest joy for me. And another thing, Dilip Kumar Chakraborty once said that if you go to any field, if you do not know about that site, anything, but if you just go there and touch the mud and contemplate, automatically you will find that things are coming to you. Though it might seem oversimplification, but I find that this is true. There are many sites while going to, we didn't find any directions or anyone to show us, but ultimately we could reach those sites. And greatest joy was that to get the taste of discovery of archaeological artifacts. And it was Pathan who gave me this test. So each and every sites I discovered, and you know, once we discovered new sites, that also gave me immense pleasure. So if you tell me that what was the greatest joy, it's not only one. As a whole, my whole work was the greatest joy to me.
Wow. That is beautiful. So how did the findings influence your thinking about the Indian subcontinent more generally?
But again, I will refer to the book and the foreword written by Dilip Kumar Chakraborty. If you read the foreword, he clearly mentioned about the importance of this research, uh, uh, in particular to the Indian subcontinent and South Asian archaeological perspective also. You know that Alexander Cunningham, Major General Alexander Cunningham, he was the father of Indian archaeology. And he became Major General, from second lieutenant to Major General in India. He devoted his whole life for archaeological research in then India. We are also part of this. He surveyed whole Indian subcontinent. And there were many British military officers who worked on this. And I am the first uh, military officer of Indian subcontinent who, after them, who worked on the military history of any archaeological sites. So, but that's why this is importance that military officers. Naturally, if you want to uh, know the military history of any sites, it is um, uh, anyone who is trained in the military other than him. It is very difficult to um, comprehend. So, and you see the, and beside that, no early historic sites. Their fortifications were also not studied from military point of view. So there are numbers of early history fortified settlement in the Indian subcontinent. Only Wari-Bateshwar is studied from military point of view. So this is one, and uh, regarding the, as you said, that in the context of Indian subcontinent, I will see the back blurb of the book, where apart from Dilip Kumar Chakraborty and Subi Mustafizur Rahman, Dr. Rakesh Tiwari, he mentioned that this is a welcome addition to the study of military-related aspects of the Wari-Bateshwar in particular and Indian subcontinent in general. And besides that, I must say now why it is so important to me and in the context of Indian subcontinent and also world archaeology. One of our notable historian, Muntasir Mamun, who visited this archaeological site in the year 1974. After that, he wrote an article in one of our weekly where he wrote that probably history of our country will be rewritten. So after that, he didn't visit the site anymore, but his observation now is holds true. So the discovery of Wari-Bateshwar and in its identification as the capital city that Ganges Asia mentioned by Ptolemy in his geography as the capital city of the mighty Gangaridhi nation is definitely going to change the history of Bangladesh and history of Indian subcontinent. So the history of both India and Bangladesh, Indian subcontinent has to be rewritten. And another thing, recently someone also has written a book, and from earliest time, people used to mention ancient Bangladesh or ancient Bengal as a frontier. You see, ancient Bengal or ancient Bangladesh was never frontier. We were in the center. You can see that all the great civilizations were based on the river. You see, you talk about Babylon or any other civilization, you will see the great rivers are there. And the location of Wari-Bateshwar and our ancient Bangladesh, this particular location is on the strategic triangle formed by the three mighty rivers, Ganges, Brahmaputra, and Meghna. So there is no denying fact that this place was the cradle of the civilization. We have collected evidences and our publication in this regards is forthcoming, but I don't want to mention about this now. Then now another point that a nation with geostrategic, geoeconomic, along with a standing army, definitely they will aspire to extend its geopolitical orbit of influence in all directions. And the very location of Wari-Bateshwar suited for that to influence the both trade, politics, and also campaign in eastern side and also mainland India. So that's why it's not only me, because we had earliest early historic archaeological site at Moazzem. That was the only early historic site, but I discovered around 10 early historic sites. So if you talk about, and I have also documented all those in my books. So that is going to change the whole history in terms of military history, general history, or political history, whatever you say. This is one, and regarding this, Stephen T. Eckert, who is an American, he said that this book will be so incredibly interesting to scholars of military history all over the world. Who is an archaeologist? He's from America, and Tim still also highly praised about this book. And our eminent Professor Solimullah, he in a lecture, he also praised about the book. That's all.
Fascinating. Last question, General Hossain. What makes you feel alive?
There is no particular things. There are many things that make me alive. First and foremost is my family, my daughter and my wife. Next, classical music. Indian classical music that really energizes me and also enlightens me. In the morning, this is my habit. That once I get up early in the morning, so I listen to the music. Then reading books. Every morning, if I don't get new idea from the book, I cannot start my day. So once I read book, definitely I get new ideas. And always I consider myself to be a blessed person, because you see, right at that moment, almost more than half of the population of the world is uh, either unfed or half fed. You and me, we have the liberty to choose that this food I'll take or that food I'll not take. Don't you think that we are a blessed person? Is it not enough to keep you alive? Then I believe in one philosophy that is, don't live in the memory or in imagination. Memory means that you are living in the past, and imagination means you are living in the future. You see, you do not have control over any of this, not past, not future. So one must try to live in the present. So I always make an endeavor to live in the present. That this is one, and I take life very simple. Even a fragrance of any flower in my garden keeps me alive. It really gives you real pleasure. I don't know. It's up to you how you remain contented. And another thing, I am a naturalist. As if you see the book, so I look for every solution in the nature. If you are in the nature, you will find within microsecond that you are alive and you will be enlightened. If you are onlooker of the nature, and you will find there is a rhythm and joy. In Bangla, we call it ananda. So you will not find any pain and sorrow in the nature. Pain and sorrowness is our own creation. So people will have setbacks in their life. There is no denying fact about this. But you must face it playfully, and playfulness is the key. I do believe in this. So, as you asked me that which keeps me alive, and there are many things, because we are just one of the creation of billions of creation in the world. So we are also part of it. If you open your eyes, you will find many things to keep you alive. That's
General Hossain, thank you so much for this fascinating book that you gave us to the world and being on the show. Such a pleasure. That's why knowledge matters.